Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Alling is here. Ms. Ballantyne.
Here.
Ms. Hammond.
Here.
Mr. Jane.
Here.
Mr. Larson.
Here.
Mr. Samuel Lamb.
Here.
Mr. Schultz.
Here.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Approve the agenda as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second, let's vote. Carries 7-0. Next is public announcements, recognitions, and upcoming events.
With Mr. Qualheim here at the last meeting, we did have some positive news that I hadn't spoken about yet at a board meeting out of the Rock County Fair. A lot of our students are involved in that at the end of July. So I did want to recognize Kayla George, who was named the Rock County Fairest of the Fair. And if you did see the Gazette article that was published, we also had Maddie Barber and Lucy Johnson from Evansville High School in that same contest. So 3 out of the 4 were from Evansville High School. So great representation. And then just recently in the Evansville Examiner, and then it ran in other local papers as well, we had 6 Evansville High School students that were invited or qualified for a Master Showman contest at the Rock County 4-H Fair. They include Caden Butts, who's a senior in swine, Brinley Kroll, also a senior in sheep, Kirsten Geitbrock, also a senior in poultry, August Hunt, who will be an incoming freshman this year in poultry, Tatum Spike, who you all got to know as one of our board reps last year in goats, Kayla Trustum in 11th grader in dairy, and then Katie Zettel, who was also an officer in the FFA in goats as well. So congratulations to all of our Evansville High School students who were involved this summer in that week-long affair. I won't say too much about the next 2, but we do, it's been all over Facebook now, but we did have the Evansville Athletics Hall of Fame class announced for 2025. I think Mr. Butchin is going to briefly mention that. That's coming up on the 13th of September. That includes Kayla Klitzman Sonnenberg, Bob Brezowitz, Sandy Spanton Nelson, Steve Kundert, and then the 95 and 96 cross-country teams. And then I'll say very little about the next one because it is in Mr. Butchin's report, but he's got some good news on how all of our sports teams combined did in terms of the Rock Valley Conference this past year. Upcoming events, we do have open houses and 6th grade orientation tomorrow. Actually, tonight you had freshman orientation and open house at the high school. They put theirs on a Wednesday night because they already have competitions in volleyball, football, golf, swim, you name it. Next Tuesday is our first day of school, like most schools around the area. And then just a reminder, there is going to be the 3rd annual community corn roast that does benefit our FFA as well on the 7th, which is the first Packer games. They have made it Packer themed at Evansville Ford that day.
Last year's was great.
It was. I'll plug Culver's again. They've been a great community partner. They will be giving away free custard. I could mention at this time too, the manager reached out to me and said, hey, we would really like to give away free value baskets to all your staff. How would you like me to do that? And I said, if you want to come on Monday, when they all come out of the PAC at about 9:45, it would be great if they could see your face and pass them out. And so I think they probably passed out over 200 value baskets to our staff on Monday. So they've been fantastic.
Are there any other announcements? That's very nice of Culver's, thanks. Any public presentations? All right, if not, moving on. Activities at the athletic director fall report.
With the 2 reports tonight, as Kendall comes up and then Mark will report out on our virtual school report a little bit later. we try to keep these at a reasonable amount. You've had these for about a week now. I've asked them to just kind of go over the highlights and then see if you've got any questions for them. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Butchin.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. First off, we're excited for another strong year of all of our extracurricular and co-curriculars in Evansville. As Jim Qualheim was speaking last board meeting about the planning the overnight experiences for our students, this year's fall play is Before Oz by Lauren Grove. That will be performed on November 7th through the 9th. And then once school starts, our music programs, band and choir will start practicing with performances scheduled for the homecoming parade. And then along with choir and band performances in October, the big band bash also in November, and then the Madrigal dinner in December. Athletics update, participation remains strong across our programs. At the high school level, football numbers are up to 62 this fall. Volleyball and girls golf are steady. Cheerleading continues to grow. At J.C. McKenna, volleyball has a significant growth with 55 athletes participating compared to 42 the last couple of years. All of those registration numbers are as of August 13th when when the packet was due. So some of those registration numbers have continued to climb since then, especially at the middle school level, since middle school volleyball just started this past week. But as of right now, all of our middle school athletic programs, as well as high school athletic programs, are underway. High school have already started competitions. So the fall season is in full swing. A couple highlights from this past summer. Our pop-up program at the high school and the middle school continued to grow with significant increases both in attendance and workouts completed, so that was awesome to see. Registration announcement that has been athletic registration announcement, which has been blasted on Facebook and sent to all of our families via Skyward, is our school was bought out by Arbiter, so our athletic registration process changed for this past summer. The transition was a little rocky at times, but we all worked through it. So I want to thank all of our community members and families for their patience during the transition. And then one thing I am super proud of is Evansville High School earned the Rock Valley Conference All Sports Trophy for the Rock Division for this past 24-25 school year. So this recognition reflects the combined efforts of all of our programs in all of our sports. They get points based on the way they finish in conference standings, and then that is divided by the number of programs that we offer, and then an average is taken, and we came out on top in the Rock Division. It is the first time that we have won this award since the 07-08 school year. So
Wow.
pretty big accomplishment for our coaches and for our students at EHS.
Congratulations.
Maybe a new target for Culver to
Any questions?
I do have a question. Has the community soccer, I don't remember what they're called, Evansville Soccer Club?
Yep.
Have they seen a similar decrease in soccer participation that we're seeing? That kind of surprised me because I know it's a pretty strong program.
Yeah, so the majority of that is based on last year, well, this number in particular has climbed since the 13th.
Okay.
Because boys soccer started on August 18th, so not all the registrations were in. So we're probably close to the 40, 45 from the last couple of years. The reason for the 35, or the reason if we were to decrease in numbers, is last year's senior class was 13 compared to 7 this year for a senior class. So that it fluctuates based on senior classes every, just a handful of kids.
And just to answer, because I coach that soccer team, there's actually less girls this year than there are boys. And so we had to do a co-ed team,
what age level?
U9,
Okay.
which is the first level for competitiveness.
Yeah, we're in U8 and U10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask about the pop-up programs? That's Power of Positive Athletes, is that?
Yeah, but what we do is we put it out to all students. So no matter if you're an athlete or if you are a student that just wants to remain active over the summer, we blast it out to all students. It is not athletic based. It is just a great workout, and it's encompasses resistance training along with strength and agility.
Great. How, do you know offhand how many students participated in this year?
Yeah, so at the high school level it was around 70 to 75, give or take, week to week with families on vacation and in other sporting events. And then at the middle school level, we were around 65.
That's awesome.
Program.
Yeah, our coaches do a great job with it. Yeah, and it's Monday through Thursday. We have time slots, and so the students come at their time slots. And
My last question with it is, you mentioned getting the weight rooms open after school during the week. I think that makes a lot of sense. Do you know what would be required? Are there any changes in policy necessary or anything like that? Pretty easy, just making the
yeah, the main thing is just supervision.
Got it.
Yeah, making sure that we have enough supervision.
The pop-up program, enrollment people, the kids are included in our summer school enrollment, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That's it's really helped our summer school numbers, I know.
Right, and even in terms of, I think where you're going is that it's funding, because you do get a percentage of the full-time equivalent back in a.
Or something like that, yeah.
And this year, Mark and I worked together at the middle school to make sure that they were able to do both the summer school program as well as the pop program.
I have a question. So it looks like there's some programs that have remained pretty steady and others that have fluctuated more. At what point do you look at increasing or decreasing coaches based on participants?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for example, I believe it was in 2023, I came to the board for asking for an additional junior varsity 3 volleyball coach. So the past couple of years, we have ran a junior varsity 3 program at the high school volleyball level. So really, it's if that number is hitting, the way I look at it is for volleyball specifically, you can put 6 on the court at the same time. So if we're getting teams of 15 to 18, which is essentially three teams, we need to look at splitting up the girls or the students in that particular fashion and then adding another team, because really their experience is not going to be great if they're on a volleyball team of 18. So for example, back in 2022, we were kind of bordering for boys soccer on possibly a 3rd team. But our number was we wanted to consistently get to 55. And that was our number of being able to field 3 levels. So there's specific numbers in place based on how many kids can participate at one time. But for volleyball, as you can see, we've been hitting that consistent 55 mark or even 60 mark for the past 3 years. So that's why, and we saw the numbers at the youth level as well, increasing as well. So we were just proactive on that.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the middle school, like 55 girls on two teams. That's a lot for 2 coaches.
For sure. And we are actually looking at adding another coach at the 8th grade level because they're up to 30 on their squad alone. So we wait to see, at least I wait to see if we have the kids. The registrations are one thing, but once we start practice and we have the kids, then that's when we kind of.
I think it's a balance too, right? Because I know like with our AD meeting with advancement and enrollment, what the strategy is for student experience versus what we have in the budget. I'd be curious, nothing you have to answer now, but I'd be curious if as we see these numbers come in, do we have to strategize differently of kind of how we, like you said, can we wait until then? Will that affect the student, experience enough where, and I know that not everyone's going to college, I get that, no one's going to college sports, but does that hurt opportunities that we could utilize to make Evansville even greater?
All right, is there any other questions for Mr. Butchen? If not, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
next up is virtual school board report.
Hello. I've got several links in that report. I guess the two things I would want to address are one, the number of options and opportunities that these platforms create for our students, and two, just kind of explain the difference between the two. In the JEDI program, we very much lean into the singleton courses, especially those courses that we don't have to offer in our brick and mortar setting. It also creates some opportunities. I know Mrs. Gard was in here not so long ago talking about youth apprenticeships. It's an option to create scheduling opportunities that can create additional opportunities for students like youth apprenticeships. JEDI is run through a consortium and they have certified teachers leading the way. Edgenuity is rooted in our learning targets and it is on the school district to do the grading, to monitor it, to communicate with families. Edgenuity has kind of evolved into a program we're using with our alt-ed program, and it's also nice in the summer. It's a nice way to get that credit recovery in place for students as well. Melissa, you just asked about summer school and those hours as well.
It's really wonderful.
Can I ask what the Edgenuity, for the credit recovery, how does that align? So like if you have, a specific, like a science class that you failed, right, and you get those credits back, so it would be our science teacher who's involved in assessing?
Really, where it began is we used our learning targets that we created in Evansville through the course standards and so on. And so those drove the Edgenuity platform. And so what's nice about it is instead of in the summer trying to pass an entire science course, we've identified the specific areas of learning that we want to focus in on. And so we've had Kelly Fanta in the summer guiding the students through that. She collaborates with all the teachers in different content areas. And so I guess that's my best answer is it's not a full course, it's about the areas of learning that we need to address.
Okay, that makes sense. And would it be the same, which teachers are doing it is I guess my other question. Which teachers are responsible? Because unlike JEDI, it's our teachers who are always involved, right?
Sure. Well, what it's been, in the credit recovery is it starts with the departments and the teachers that name the learning targets. And so throughout the year, and I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but throughout the year, as we identify if a student is credit deficient, where in that course were they struggling? So that's when we focus in specifically on those targets. It begins in the departments, but then the summer school teacher
Is the one actually
is the one, yes.
the summer that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
And for the alt-ed program, that would be Jared Benrud is designing those courses for them.
All right, are there any other questions from Mr. Schwartz? If not, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to budget finance, budget update.
I'll just introduce a little bit before Eric gets started here as that comes up. As you heard from Eric actually last time with his report, starting to develop a budget when he just started in July and seeing where Tom had left off with some things. The more information that you have at this point, the clearer the budget becomes. So I think about 2 weeks ago, when he first started talking about here's what it's projecting at, we were talking about about a $400,000 deficit. What you saw here is about a $40,000 surplus. And so even as soon as we uploaded this and changes continue to happen, it will continue to get probably more accurate and more focused. So again, preliminary budget, we'll not get final numbers on many things until October. And so that's why that tax certification meeting is at the end of October because we finally have equalized value and then all of our state aid in as well. So Eric works on this all the time. I will say that I think the process that we're now using is much more accurate. He's working very closely, like the amount of hours that he and Stacy Trewicki have put in, who's coding all kinds of expenditures. And then on the other end, our new hire, Jody Wilder, who's been awesome coming over from Milton, but it's a community resident, and her experience, that's more on the employee side of things. So making sure that our payroll and our benefits are accurate. They spend a lot of time on that to make sure that what we have is accurate. But again, it'll continue to develop over the next couple of months. With that, I'll pass it over to Eric.
So this is a very preliminary budget, so I'll just first of all say that. There's a lot of information that I have actually changed because more information has come into me. One of the things that I'll be meeting with Mr. Schwartz tomorrow is to talk about some of the titles that were released, Title II, Title III, Title IV, that I didn't have the information for when I put this together the first time. But to kind of take a step back and kind of go off of some of the things that Mr. Perry had just said, we've been doing some really good work with Jody Wilder in the payroll side of things. So if we take a look at what a budget is for a school district, it's pretty much 70 to 80% people, and that's the benefits. And we've had a lot of new staff this year. So one of the challenges that we've had is to understand what their benefits are. So for instance, if someone was to take a health plan, that would cost the district around $21,000. But if they chose to do the cash in lieu of that health plan, it's about $4,500 or so there's a big difference that's there. As we go forward, I will continue to update. I think we're down to about 4 people that I still have to hear from and get their paperwork. So that number will sure up by September 1st because all the teachers are back now. Some of the other things that we've been doing is I've noticed that benefits may have been charged to the wrong account last year in error. So if someone shifted to a different position, one part of their salary was put to one place and their benefits to another. So we've now gone through each individual employee and have shifted the expenses to the right place. That is helpful, it's great, we're doing it, but then it's also going to make things look a little different next year because those dollars, when you compare it to the actuals of last year to the budget of this year, are going to look off. So we're trying really hard to make things as accurate as possible, so we've gone one person at a time through that. Other things that I've noticed is different types of supplies may be charged to a wrong woofer account code, so that's going to look a little off. Now, those are kind of smaller ticket items, but at the same time, it's going to make a difference if you have every building doing that. I've worked with Griffin and TC Network and understanding what their needs are, especially to make sure that we're ready for the start of the year with our IT needs. So we've done those kinds of things. Other than that, I'm setting up meetings with Linda Gard to talk about youth apprenticeship. There's some grants that are available there and understanding what those dollar amounts are, and then continuing to set up in our WISE grants, which is through the state, all our grants, so we can get those funds right away. I like to claim those funds at least once a month, if not more, depending upon what the expenses are.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
For audit purposes, because those were being charged to the wrong line, how many years do you have to have that on your, can we change it without us hurting in the audit?
Hey, we can adjust our budget, absolutely. As far as last year's audit, we are going into our audit season right now. And so those expenses are gonna stay where they're at.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
I appreciate seeing the property values estimates this early. It's really hard to put your mind around the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So seeing them now is going to be helpful.
I think the overall increase was just over 7%, if you were to take that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Evansville, those values vary dramatically between the townships, so it is good to have that information.
All right, are there any other questions for Mr. Farrar? not, thank you, and, let's move on to business action items. First, item up is, I'll entertain a motion on the approval of FFA overnight field trips.
I make a motion to approve the overnight and out-of-state Evansville trips for the 2025-26 school year as presented.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a second, any discussion? If not, let's vote. Screen's on up to the page. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the action item is, second reading of approval of updated to property, 7,000s, operations 8,000s, and relations 9,000s, and yellow policies.
Move to adopt the updates to the property 7,000s, operations 8,000s, and relations 9,000 series of Neola policies since 2022 as presented.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I will second.
There's a second, any discussion?
Just a note, I've got a communication ready for Dr. Onsager, and then if there's a production email to Neola to let them know that these have all now been approved. I think of the four of you that have been on that committee more recently, so Elliot, Crystal, Ryan, and Hope, all of those drafts are in different places, so I did kind of map out where they all are because they're really in 3 different locations. Once those roll over, then we do have one update already waiting for us, and then probably another one early into 2026. But again, just a huge thank you to those of you that have worked on those, and there's been a lot of committee meetings and time put in, and a lot of, don't want to underestimate the amount of reading that you've all done to prepare for those meetings. So thank you for that.
So is the estimated time that we would be able to kind of unveil the new, their set of policies, is it early 2026?
No, actually, what I was told is if this is the timeline, if we had these approved at this meeting at the end of August, that we should see the new policies roll over and the old ones, they simply get replaced by the end of September. So it shouldn't be long.
All right, there's a motion, there's a second, there's no discussion after this, so let's vote. Motion carries 7-0. Next is consent. Does anybody want anything removed? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent.
I move to approve consent agenda items A through C.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
A second, let's vote.
There it is.
Motion carries 7-0. Next is future agenda. Does anybody want anything changed or removed?
We will have, this time, given what this agenda looks like, we'll have all of our new staff here on the 10th of September, those that can make it. That invitation's already gone out to them. And the first principal report of the year is just a verbal report on how things are going so far. There's a lot, obviously, leading up to those first few days of school, and then this week is very busy for the principals as well. So without a written report, I'm just asking them to be here and present. One thing I did want to add and ask about it is something that Elliot and I had discussed and he had asked about is board walkthroughs. Now, I realize that many of you have 9 to 5 or, regular jobs where it wouldn't allow you unless you were gonna take a vacation day, and I'm not asking you to take a vacation day. But for those that might be interested, I think Elliot was thinking maybe more sooner rather than later, maybe this fall. When I've done these with other boards in the past, we've tried to target sort of the early spring. We would move from building to building, so I don't think you really want to do it in the dead of winter where there could be snow or cold temperatures. So another possibility might be in March before spring break. If it was something that the board was interested in, there are some dates actually in the next couple of weeks. So Monday, September 15th, Tuesday, September 16th, Wednesday, the 17th, or even the 22nd of September. If it's something that you're interested in, but you'd want more time, like to look at your work calendar, and I could potentially just give you a date in March, which is obviously quite a ways out, we could do it then as well. I think when Elliot and I were talking, it was, we'd like to still have this board do it before any transitions might happen in the spring. So thoughts on the value of that? What would happen is we'd look at about 3 hours. Typically, we would do that in the morning, like an 8:30 to 11:30. And then I would set up about 45 minutes in each building. If there were specific things that you wanted to see in a building, I would let the principal know that. Typically, what we would show is, things that are highlighting the building, things that are going really well. Again, anything that you wanted to see. And then it also gives us an opportunity in terms of facilities. If there are facility needs, that the board is able to see some of those as well. So those would be the 3 different areas we would look at. I just open it up for if this is something that, is it too soon to do in the fall? Because again, once you get into October and the homecoming season and then into November, it's probably getting a little bit too late. If we did target something in the early spring, we could put a date on the calendar. It doesn't even have to be tonight. I could get that out to the board. Like, here'd be a great date proposed by the principals, and then you'd have a long time if you wanted to take work off to be here. No pressure. I've had as many as, I think, 6 board members on some of these, and I've had as few as 3, but all of them have found it rewarding in one way or another, just to get in touch with what a day looks like in a building that you might not be familiar with.
I think that's a great idea. I know off the top of my head, I mean, I'm only one person, but September 22nd would be the only one that I could do.
That works for me as well.
Do it. Love to.
I think it's such a good idea to get the board out there and, not just for us to see what they're doing, but for them to see that we have active interest in really seeing what's going on.
Sure. You saw the staff survey results and some of the things, the questions about the board. I agree with you, Melissa. It would be a positive gesture by the board to let, again, believe me, I know, like if I was asked to go do something in the middle of the day, I probably would not take off work to go do that. So I totally get that. But if we've got 4 of you that could do it, and I'll just put it on the calendar and let the principals know. Again, that would be about 8:30 to 11:30. I could send out an invite, and then we would post that as a potential meeting with quorum, just so that if people see 4 board members walking around, they're probably talking about things as well. It just be very transparent with the community about that as well.
Is it possible to have lunch at the high school?
Sure. Yeah, we could end there.
I hear so much about the food service.
You're the trend here. You're just not gonna be free.
It's all about the food.
You have
You
a
bring
menu
in the
request,
donuts?
No, I'm just, I'd like to actually taste the food we serve our kids.
No, that's good.
I just want to say, you bring the donuts in for your work. I'm waiting. I don't go to Madison anymore. There's the Green Bush.
I do like donuts too.
And I believe that came out of one of our policy committee discussions, and then Elliot had asked, and we had a conversation about that. So I said, once we get in close to the school year, we would ask about that. So, thank you.
Are we planning to bring information about some of the findings that we did in yesterday's
Yeah, I'll have that in my district administrator report on September 10th.
Okay, great, because I think we did some really good work yesterday.
Agreed.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Vote,
Got a second?
vote,
Second.
second.
You should stick it out of here.
I wouldn't tell my family I'm here, I'm gonna finish working.
They're all watching.
I love
We're
it.
adjourned.